Well, welcome back, everyone, to our Cast Iron IronCast. This time, we're doing political compass tests. We've all done them here recently, and we'll go through it together with you and see, just kind of discuss what questions go into it, and our thoughts on such questions, how we reached our conclusions, and where we ended up. And also, if we have time, there's been a lot of talk lately of fascism and Nazism and socialism and communism. What quadrant of the political compass do these ideologies actually land, and how are they similar and how are they different? So I think people will be surprised how similar certain of them are to each other in their expression to the common person. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll take it away. You want to start out with just going through the questions of political compass?
You can do it from yours? Go
Sure.
for it. Yeah.
Okay, question 1 of 46. Freedom of business is the best practical way a society can prosper.
That one, I'm jumping up and down going, absolutely strongly agree.
Yeah?
I didn't even have to think. I'm like, yes.
So
that's what happens when you own your own business. You figure out what really makes the world tick.
Yeah. My instinct, yes, is to agree strongly. However, then the opposite side takes over. Okay, we've seen movies about big megacorps like BlackRock, and and there actually are companies like BlackRock, because they do exist. That without regulation, they'll just gobble everything up and be evil little turds. Owning all the houses and renting them back to us for exorbitant prices. What do you do with them? Do you regulate them, or is freedom of the market sacrosanct enough to allow them to do whatever?
Would they have gotten that big had there actually been a free market?
Maybe not, because I bet you they've had bailouts before.
Right, or they would self-destruct.
Or have government protectionism around their industries.
Yes, or people using the free market in a healthy way would see them for what they are and not support that. And so it's like what the market will bear is different from what the market will put up with. And okay, perfect example. Cracker Barrel.
Oh yeah, we successfully cyberbullied them into reversing their rebrand.
Yeah, they were going to rebrand and take the cute little man, the farmer guy.
They got rid of the cracker and the barrel.
And the barrel. Yes. And the people revolted and said that is not appropriate. The whole system, the whole restaurant is based off of Cracker Barrel and the home cooking, country food, not little tiny little pieces of food dressed up pretty that cost you $50 a plate.
We have those places.
We have those places, and if you want to use those places and have the money, go for it. But Cracker Barrel is for home cooking and things that come from the farm and all the old-fashioned candy that's in the store.
Grandma's sampler for when you want to sample grandma.
So, to me, that's an example. The market, which is us, said, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We do not approve, and we will tell you we don't approve by not spending money with you. So when their profits tanked, they did a very, very, and I'm happy for them, thus I still go to Cracker Barrel, decided that was not the best intelligent thing to do, and shifted and did a course correct and apologized and went straight back to the core of what Cracker Barrel is.
I think they took a lesson from Bud Light.
Oh boy.
Because Bud Light doubled down like a few times. And they got repeatedly punished for it.
Yep.
And I don't think they'll ever recover. Whereas the market was very forgiving to Cracker Barrel. As soon as they changed course, they went right back to where they were. Actually,
Right.
they made profits above where
Did
they
they
were
go
before.
higher? I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't paid attention.
So the market was generous.
Yes.
It was benevolent.
Well,
There's the idea I've seen around of the board meeting at the company is like, okay, let's do this thing that a lot of people are not going to like. Then we'll apologize, and that will get us in their good graces and increase our market. As a strategic
that's a
move.
pretty risky strategy.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them. I guess it did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if you'd have to be in the board meetings to know if that was ever actually
Yeah.
properly tried. But just
I honestly don't think that is what happened.
Yeah.
And that didn't the
I'd be surprised
CEO
if
got
that
fired?
was the case.
That's what I heard.
somebody got fired. Whoever came up with that strategy got fired, and I think that apologizing doesn't really mean very much.
Mm-hmm.
But course correcting and then firing the idiot that came up with that plan, that convinces the market, being me, that they really are serious about, well, we won't do that again. And restores confidence in them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if any company that had that sort, Bud Light did not, they did not course correct, and they were smashed. So back to the, thought pattern of, if the market had been left alone in the first place, it would not have created BlackRock.
Yeah, that's true. The government kind of created them, or allowed them to become what they were.
When you think about media conglomerates, like Walt Disney buying up all the other media corporations and such, things like that.
Well, and Walt Disney, y'all are too young to remember, but Walt Disney did a thing, and half the market objected strongly. Well, they didn't course correct. Disney almost went out of business because of that decision that they made. And this was in the 80s. And so they still haven't, of course, now it's not just political stupidity or market ignorance, but it's now they just can't produce quality stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And so they've made a decision that damaged the market, which made it where they couldn't afford good talent, or how should we say, non-political talent.
Mm-hmm.
And thus you make poor movies, and then you just are looked at as you are, wow, you suck. And we don't want to go to those movies. So the market could have cared for them had they course corrected back in the 80s, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Humble opinion.
Yeah. All right, question 2. Charity is a better way of helping those in need than social welfare.
I 100% agree with that one too.
It relies on the goodwill of the people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. As long as we actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay.
Because there's going to be loads of people out there who say, yeah, charity is great, but I'm not going to do it. That's for other people to do. Yeah.
Well,
and it's usually, I'm about to say something mouthy. It's usually the progressives that do that. They'll stomp up and down, we need to take care of the poor, but they're not doing anything.
What is at the root of that? I would say it's probably a lack of faith.
Yeah.
Because most churches, you'll find, people are very generous. If you explain to them, here's the need, not just some, general every Sunday. Because I'll be honest, people, if they say, oh, we'll pass the plate around, but don't give them a reason. Right. It's like, well, no, so and so is in need of help. This family, here's their situation. Mm-hmm. Let's have a collection just for them. Right. Okay, now I have a reason to give. And that makes sense. When you know who you're helping and why you're helping.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's also the, I can't point at anything in particular, but I know that studies have been done of say the classic, help starving children in Africa, sort of thing. If you, one might think, like in a purely logical sense, that you say it's like, hey, if you give this much, you're going to be helping like 100 kids over here. You would think that would be much better than you help one kid, but science found it's like, no, the greater, the bigger that number gets, the less likely people are going to do it, because it's there's that disconnection.
Ambiguous.
And that's why so many of them do. It's like have like, here's the name and picture of the kid that this will be going to, or things like that, because that's what works better.
Yeah. Compassion International, is that the one that does that? I'm sure there are many, but that's the one that I remember from being around for a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of also one of those scaling things. Smaller is better. Like, so a small community, I go back, America circa 1920, right, or prior. You have the town, it's small, everyone knows everyone else. It's full of people who are generally religious. They'll help their neighbor. Whereas scale it up to a city of modern proportions, no one really knows any significant percentage of the city. You have to have social systems. Otherwise, no one's going to take care of the town, because they think there's such momentum behind this large place. It's just going to kind of carry itself, and I'm just along for the ride. I don't have any personal responsibility for making the town what it is. Whereas if you as an individual are a bigger percentage of the town, all right, this place isn't going to survive without me. Helping everyone else.
When your contribution makes a noticeable impact.
Yeah.
Well, when your contribution or lack thereof produces a noticeable impact.
Yeah.
To you.
We need the school needs a new roof. I'm gonna go help out. Put the roof on. All right, in a town of 2,000 people, that's a pretty significant contribution. Whereas if a city of 2 million people, whatever, it'll get done somehow.
It's easy to avoid personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Which, that's where the problem lies.
Well, it's like,
the individual.
Convincing them that they even have a responsibility to
right.
Because just here, it's like, they're, it's like, what, kind of the, what am I going to do? It's like, what impact would I have on anything? It's like, it doesn't matter.
The government's going to take care of it.
It's like, something will get taken care of. It's like, I don't care until it affects me personally, that sort of thing.
Well, and our culture has been trained to that thought pattern now, because you have welfare and you have social systems that are government-led instead of church-led. So we're trained to think, well, it's not going to get done if the government doesn't do it. Well, my thought on the matter is, how about we train the other direction again? How about we keep reducing government sources of welfare until others do learn to take responsibility individually for helping the poor or the homeless. We can't, I don't think we can justify the continuing and enlarging of a welfare state. But I also don't just cut everything off in one fell swoop, because you've created, it took 50 years to create this problem. It may take 50 years to wean culture off of the assumption that the government's the only way to do it, because they're not. There's still a lot of, and there's some that are not religion based, but there are still a lot of churches doing a lot of good, and there are not-for-profits that are doing a lot of good. They just don't get the attention that the government gets. So,
yeah,
humble opinion.
For sure. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put for this general run through. Strongly agree for our conclusion.
Okay.
3 of 46. Wages are always fair, as employers know best what a worker's labor is worth. Mm.
We're hitting on mine right now.
In an ideal world, maybe, but
Yeah.
assuming good intentions for all.
I think I put regular disagree. I think that's what I put initially. Or
disagree?
I think I put a soft disagree instead of strong disagree.
Oh, okay.
Or a neutral. I don't remember which one I put, but
because I have run my own business for 35 plus years, I know what the people who, like, I subcontract people to help me do what I do. And I know what the market will bear. I know what I can charge the client. They won't run off screaming and never want to hire me again. And then I know how much time I have to put in it, and I know how much time they're putting in it, and their skill level and my skill level, what their skill level is worth versus what my skill level is worth.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who knows nothing about landscape architecture or graphics, presentations, has no clue what it takes to produce those bits of the process in the building of a huge industrial complex or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. It's the government. I'm going to say the government doesn't know, because they're the ones that tend to thump on the wage, what they believe that the wage should be,
mm-hmm.
and what the regular person, being me, what they need to live on. They rarely actually know what I need to live on too. They're using their data as from a huge wide spectrum, and they're going for center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say what it takes, cost of living for me. Cost of living for me is way down there, because I don't have, I purposely keep my overhead low, my possessions low, and as debt-free as I can get. So cost of living for me is way down there, where the cost of someone who is on welfare, who buys the extravagant food on food stamps that I don't get because they cost too much.
Mm-hmm.
Their cost of living is over here. I don't want to be judged on theirs. And the government cannot do for an individual what the individual should be doing for themselves. And so in my business, I don't want the government telling me how much I need to pay someone I subcontract with. I don't want them to tell me how much I can charge for what I do. I would prefer that they keep their greedy little tax hands off what I own and what I do in my business.
Mm-hmm.
And the market tells me if I'm charging too much, because they
you won't get any business.
Yeah, the door will slam shut if I charge too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want to be stupid and charge so little that I can't pay my cost of living.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I do not believe the government has any business in the wage earners.
So I guess I at least was thinking about the question differently.
Same.
What? What?
So you went the direction of going straight to minimum wage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought about it in this context of
what's that? Read it again.
Wages are always fair, as employers know best what a worker's labor is worth.
Okay, right. I didn't go to minimum wage. That was part of what I talked about, but wages in general.
Okay. Well, my thought process, and maybe Tal thought the same way, was there are instances where someone who's new to an industry or something
mm-hmm.
says, I don't know what I should be charging,
mm-hmm.
so I'll just stick a number on it,
mm-hmm.
or I know I'm going to get some business and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone who's already been in the business for a while says, hey, you're doing pretty good work. You know you can ask a little more for that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't whoever they were working for is like, I'm not going to tell them they can get more for this. It's good for me.
If you have a I won't call it unethical because that's not a matter of ethics. That's a matter of caring for the people who work with you. And if you know that they should be charging more, I have actually had somebody tell me probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, you need to charge more. Because I wasn't charging enough. I wasn't charging what I was worth, is what he was saying. You're worth far more than what you're charging. You need to up your fees. And it was charging him. I mean, he was the one that was going to, authorize checks to me. So it depends on the character of the leader you are working for.
Right.
And if they're going to be, if it is their way of leadership to encourage you to ask for what you need. Mm-hmm. If that's what they're training, that's different. They're training, ask for what you need. Well, but if they're just taking advantage of you, then they'll probably lose you as an employee eventually.
Maybe. That's why they discourage employees talking about what they make.
Right.
Because I've actually had it happen where an employer, in their interviews, most employers do this, they'll ask you, what do you want to make?
Right.
And you're faced with, decision.
Do I ask too little?
I don't want to lose the job because I asked for too much. And they're like, someone else will do it for cheaper. But I also don't want to just go to the bottom of the scale and miss out on something.
Shoot yourself in the foot.
Right. So one of my coworkers at the time had done that. He'd gone straight to the bottom and said, hey, I want this job. I'll take the bottom. Years later, a few of us are just talking and on the downtime, and we're all talking about what we make. And he's like, oh my gosh, you guys are making way more than me.
Oh, poor fella.
And so he felt gypped.
Yeah.
Naturally. So, because he could have been asking for more the whole time.
Well, and part of that is personal responsibility. You need to know what you're worth. And you need to actually be willing to ask for what you are worth. And that was really hard for me. I stayed at a very low per hour charge until like 2006 or 7. And I was made aware of exactly how much I was worth. And I thought, if you pay your plumber more than you pay me for a very specialized service, then I'm not charging enough. And I found out what the plumber was making, and I'm like, crap. So I upped it, and it was for Shears Furniture. Bless their hearts, I love them. They were the first ones that called me after that realization. And I don't know why he went ahead and hired me, because I told him, if I'm not worth more than your plumber, and if you don't let me do my very, very best design work, I don't want to do it. And he's like, I'll pay you what you need. And hired me. So, yeah.
It brings to mind the meme, I don't know if you've seen it, of, I don't know what movie this is from. It has the kid from Chronicles of Narnia, the eyebrows guy.
Eyebrows guy?
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
Anyway, it's 4 quadrants, and the first one's like, I'm making this much. And the wife says, you're making that? I'm making this. The daughter says, oh, what? I'm making this. And then the eyebrows kid says, you guys are getting paid?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I've seen that, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm doing this for free.
Yeah. Tal found one with the SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's a different thing.
Quadrant. It's a different subject, but it was a quadrant from SpongeBob SquarePants. It was funny, too. Anyway.
So do
you have any thoughts on that? Yeah.
I clearly was approaching that question in a very simple way, which was just, because my thought was like, well, probably the employer knows best what your work is worth, but that doesn't mean that they're going to make the wages fair.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all I was thinking.
Right.
They're going to try and make a buck.
Yeah. Like the goal of the corporation is to make a profit. So.
Right. And the goal of the individual is know your worth.
So it's like,
and ask for it.
That's as far as my brain went on the question. It was like, so it's
mine went.
So it was like, yes, but no. yes, an employer probably knows what the workers are worth, but that doesn't necessarily mean the wages are going to be fair.
Well, and let's throw this out there. It kind of goes along with, the character of the person that you're working for. It's also the individual's responsibility to look at who you are working for.
Mm-hmm.
Are they fair? Are they fair in their critiques of your work? Are they fair? And it doesn't even mean, I don't even want to use the word fair. Are they good at what they do? Are they treating you? Are they valuing you? Do they place a high value on your input? Are they encouraging you to grow? Do you have enough money to live on? And are they capable of paying more? Sometimes they're not, and you've got to take that into account too. But if you are following someone who is greedy and non-supportive, don't quit automatically. Go find another job. Hunt. And then when you find one that's better, then quit. And don't act like you have to be in that place forever.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't want you, they would drop you like a hot potato. And they wouldn't wait 2 weeks and give you notice. They would fire you that minute, that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I always grew up with, you're in the job, you're stuck in the job. You can't.
You're there for 30 years.
You're there for 30 years. Yeah, and luckily, my career path did not allow me to do that. And I wanted to work for myself. So I rarely had that problem. But you're responsible for yourself in the position you are in. And if it is not appropriate to your needs, then absolutely let the person you're working for know about those needs. But then if they're unresponsive and you don't feel valued, then find a good one. Because there are a lot of good bosses out there.
Yeah. All right, question number 4. It is human nature to be greedy. I put agree. At our base level, we don't do things generally unless we have something to gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of higher level thinking of charity and whatever, but at the end of the day, we all have to eat. Right, you all have to have shelter, over your heads.
I guess it just depends then on how you define greedy, because I would think greedy is,
exorbitant.
kind of more as like maybe a valuing self at the cost of others rather than just the valuing self. That's that's how I think of it. In which case, I would think it's maybe at the the monkey brain would certainly work that way. But such an individual doesn't tends to not fare so well in, it's kind of an awkward thing because, I want to say such individuals wouldn't, society would push back against such behaviors. One can talk about, corporations and whatnot, but we'll say that, in a community, we'll say that, such an individual would not be very highly valued and therefore kind of discourages such behavior. So it's monkey brain level, yes. Social behavior generally, I guess there it's kind of that might be your nature, but it would be regulated by the community, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it might benefit you in this one instance.
Yeah, it's
short term.
Yeah.
Short term, yes. Long term, people are going to shun you.
Yeah.
So better
it's
sparingly.
So I guess it depends a bit on it's naturally on their own, yes. Naturally in a community, maybe less so. But yeah, it's that. That's one of those questions that kind of depending on how you're thinking of it, could be answered differently. And I don't know what the expectation of the questionnaire would be, in how they're thinking that it would be interpreted. But
fair enough.
I kind of waffle because I've known people that assume the worst in everybody, that everybody is out to get you, or they present a danger to you, or they're absolutely going to take advantage of you. And I don't see that in the people that I come into contact with. We'll take, for instance, if you've lost something. Okay, I cannot find my phone. I don't know where it is. I think somebody stole it. This was the last person that was here. They stole it. I'm going to go get them. And I'm looking, I'm like, have you retraced your steps? Have you looked everywhere? Really? Your first instinct should be, I've misplaced my phone. And it'll turn up. But to have the knee-jerk reaction of somebody has stolen from me, which, to me, that's a sign of greed, or just assuming the worst in people. And so I don't assume that every person I meet is greedy, because there are a lot of generous people in the world. But I also know there's that other segment that is greedy. And so it could be that it's, yes, like you say, monkey brain knows our base animal instinct might be, and instead of greedy, I would say self-absorbed, concerned about self over and above someone else. But we're pretty quickly trained growing up, at least in this culture, to take other people into consideration and not be greedy with your toys, share. So I don't really know how to answer that one, because
it depends on how you
Yeah.
is it natural? It's like, well, in what natural in what context?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I'm sure in some cultures, that's the only way you survive, is being extremely concerned about yourself amongst everybody else, over everybody else.
In cultures, in other parts of the world, if you leave your car unlocked, it is going to get stolen.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, you lock your car, it's going to end up on blocks,
Yeah, they're going to take your tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are places, actually here in the U.S., where it's like that. So you can't, there's low societal trust.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what we're looking for. The societal trust is low.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in a high trust society,
yeah,
I guess they're talking about base human instincts, perhaps. I don't know.
Or just money.
Because
about money.
Because what we were talking about went a bit, broader or farther afield than just greed.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that the questionnaire is talking about that with regard to how does this affect the reliability of corporations and things like that. I imagine that's kind of
Probably
where the questionnaire is going with it. But,
could be.
Just that, as a guess.
Yeah.
Because it's a political compass test, not a moral,
or ethical,
sociological compass. So.
Who was it said that the individual is the political and the political is the individual, or something like that?
It's made up of individuals.
Yeah.
So.
It's all connected.
Yep.
Because that's what political means. It's the polis, the people.
The people.
Da 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 da. That's socialism, okay. Exploitation is an outdated term, as the struggles of 1800s capitalism don't exist anymore.
I had to answer that question. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a long one. Exploitation is an outdated term, as the struggles of 1800s capitalism don't exist anymore.
So are they talking about like exploitation, like child labor?
Probably.
Or
I would
paying
assume
them so little that it's
those
just
are like
ridiculous.
company towns and
I
stuff.
would assume it's either about child labor or race relations. This would be my assumption. Like my brain went to race relations first, but I don't know because I don't know what 1800s capitalism was like. I guess that's getting into stuff that I don't really know about.
Which part of 1800s capitalism? Because it sounds like maybe they're talking about particular gripes that the socialists had, which were like, mining companies where you had the company town, they owned everything.
Mhm.
You had the company store, and you can never get out of debt from the company store because, they charge you crazy money for
Right.
a can of beans, which you needed because this is a cold place, nothing
Mhm.
grows, you can't grow. So
and you're charging those because
yeah.
those
And-
fees because
Yeah, I
that's
guess.
what the market
your
will bear.
pay or more than your pay goes to surviving, and you can't leave the company because
You
you
can't
owe the
survive.
company store.
Ah.
So
Yeah, and I guess that's where
you're their
it's,
slave basically.
Yeah, I guess that's probably more what it's talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah, because so with regard to the my brain going to race relations or whatnot, it's like I usually hear exploitation used in reference to like colonial, what's the term? It's like they're like there was the whole thing in Great Britain about needing to do something in return to all these places that got colonized and taken over by Britain, back in the day or whatever.
Decolonialism.
Yeah, something along those lines. But that's where, cause I think of that. That's where my brain thinks of in terms of like exploitation. Of it's like, well, Britain just went out and just colonized, conquered, however you want to think, just all these places just willy nilly, and to civilize them and all that kind of stuff. And there was talks for a while of of people wanting reparations for the lost culture and like just things like that. Just being that of the idea of it's like, well, our our culture just we'll say was just overrun by Britain against our will back in the day, and that's what I first think of with regards to that. But yeah, that's probably not what it's talking about with with specific reference to capitalism and whatnot. It is probably talking more about exploitation of workers by the corporations. But again, that's stuff I don't really know about, so I can't really talk on that.
Might help to define what exploiting.
It's kind of a broad term too.
Hmm.
It can mean a lot of things.
Or define exploitation theory.
The act of exploiting. Yeah, it's like my brain is like it's definitely not exploitating, but exploiting just sounded awkward for a bit.
Yeah, I hate when dictionaries do that. It's like, okay, what is exploitation? The act of exploiting. Thanks. Okay.
So helpful.
Let's find exploit.
Exploitation. Sorry, what? Exploitation theory is primarily associated with Marxist theory, which posits that workers are not compensated for the full value of their labor, leading to the appropriation of surplus value by the capitalist class.
Yeah, so that sounds like what it would be referring to,
So very
which ties
of a class system.
Which ties it into the question about employers, knowing what.
And this is kind of what Marx was going after in his Das Kapital. Was the rich are taking advantage of the working class, and we need to rise up and seize the means of production, so it's fair for everyone involved. That's the gist of what he was getting at.
Which didn't work out.
No, it didn't.
It basically means there are people in power that do not know how to do that job.
Well, and the minute you get more than someone else, you are the bad guy, and so therefore you must be overthrown.
You must be taken down. Yeah. Okay.
You have 2 donkeys and I only have 1.
Okay. You ready for next?
Yeah. We'll just kind of put unsure on that because it's a weird question.
Okay.
Communism is an ideal that can never work in practice. I think strongly agree. Yeah.
Well, how about you, Joe?
I mean, I didn't put strongly on anything, but yeah.
Anna McCarthy comes out. Are you communists?
We had that. Did we have that whole discussion before we hit play on the video? No, about communism, about like the kibbutz in Israel are based off communism, but it's small, and they agree to be in that system. It's not like you're forced to be in a kibbutz. You can choose to, and so.
Right, so just at least for me, the key point still being small scale. it works
Small
on small
scale.
scale, like little village.
Yeah, they've done tests, and communism or socialism, I guess, on this scale. Socialism works fine up to about 100 people, and after that, it falls apart very rapidly. Because I think, like we were talking about earlier, you tend to think the social momentum of this organization is just going to carry everyone along, regardless of how ineffective my efforts are, or how effective or ineffective. So I have no personal responsibility for the success of the group. Whereas if it's 5 people, well, your efforts are very noticed,
Right,
and very needed.
If you're not doing your part, it's noticed very quickly.
So, yeah, socialism, small scale, as long as everyone agrees, fine, do your thing, Which is why there's really not that many actual left libertarians. It kind of takes a very special kind of situation to get there, and very rigid adherence to that ideology. They're out, like, there's 5 of them, they're out in the middle of nowhere in a commune that they all agreed to buy. And one guy's like, hey man, I grew some watermelons, you want some? And yeah, and after that, I'll help you do dishes. Okay. And then they're all stoned out of their minds.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Did I gave my answer on that one, right?
yeah, communism.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah.
And most libertarians, just a side note, most libertarians that say they're left libertarians are actually just authoritarian leftists.
Yeah.
That want to take over the libertarian moniker.
Yeah.
So, all right, taxation of the wealthy is a bad idea. Society would be better off without it.
Strongly agree. Taxation in any form
Yes.
is theft.
So by extension, I don't care if a wealthy man pays his
Yeah.
taxes. I would rather no one pay their taxes.
Right. I would rather not have a government so large and out of control that it requires a tax just to exist.
Well, that's what gets me is every year my city sends out a voluntary tax request. Oh, hey, so would you like to pay extra for the ambulance and all that and the fire?
For the library.
I would if you weren't taxing me already.
Yeah.
If I have nothing else going on and you weren't taking my tax by force, I would happily pay voluntarily for a ambulance service or a fire service or and this is going to sound weird coming from me, even some level of policing, okay? And a friend of ours is going to hang me over that. But, to some extent, as long as they're minimal, yes, fine.
Minimal to me would be if their sole job is to detective work, or actually real crime, not drug usage or speeding tickets.
CID type stuff, there's a serial somethingist, on the loose, and he's been taking advantage of people, right?
Yeah.
Stop that guy.
Go after that guy.
Right.
Why are you out giving grandma a ticket for something that didn't hurt anybody and has no intent of hurting anybody?
Yeah.
Spend your time doing things that are actually protecting the public.
Yeah, seatbelt laws, forget them. If they want to not wear their seatbelt, it's their butt.
They will probably never have a loss of life, but very rarely would there be loss of life because of a seatbelt.
They'll pay with their noggin.
Yeah, and it's an individual choice. If you want to be stupid, go be stupid. If you want to go and be safe, be safe. But yeah, for some external disciplinarian, for things that there's no real crime involved, I don't want to pay for that.
Wanted to see what your answer to the future question is, then, but based on that. But,
What? Which one? What'd I do?
well, no, we'll see.
We're going to see if it does. Yeah, sorry, probably will.
Well, we'll see if it matches up.
Okay.
Okay. The harder you work, the more you progress up the social ladder. I disagree.
Well, yeah, because what is it saying? A social ladder, is that like your social standing?
Yeah.
Because
the proposition is the harder workers are more liked by the community, basically.
yeah.
Well,
Talk to the guys who do the trash. They get paid really well.
yeah, that's true.
But they are not respected, which is sad. I mean, I respect them because I like to have my trash picked up. But general populace kind of looks down their nose at that sort of job.
Yeah.
They get paid more than I do.
Just in general, like the people who work the hardest are not necessarily the people who are most respected.
Or promoted.
It's very
well, and not even monetarily, because how I interpreted the question was like monetarily, money wise, they're not. There's the old saying, "Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and get to work." Okay, that's fine. You know there's something to that for sure. But sometimes people are just spinning their wheels like crazy, and they're working hard. They're doing their best at their job, but
they're not
they work at the gas
rewarded for
station.
that. Yeah.
And that's no matter how hard you work at the gas station, you're never going to get paid big bucks doing that.
Right.
So
if the question was those who make the most money or higher up the social ladder, that may be a bit more true.
Yeah.
But because money is a big status symbol, but hardworking, not so much. That's for one, that sort of thing manifests in a much less outwardly obvious way. But outwardly obvious stuff are more likely going to be status symbols. But anyways.
Yeah, but social status, that's not clearly, it is clearly defined, but it's not. I know those questions are, geared to bend your brain, but yeah.
All right, organizations and corporations cannot be trusted and need to be regulated by the government. We kind of did this one earlier.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with that, yeah.
Yeah,
but in the same...
Where do you balance the nature of corporate greed and all that kind of stuff?
But in the same, it's at the expense of free market values.
You mean to regulate...
Presumably it's thinking government regulation, but...
Right, yeah. No, I don't... I think it should be regulated by the market, not government.
Yeah, it can go both ways on that for me.
Because it is very easy for corporate greed to get out of control.
Well, what comes to mind is the Ohio River being caught on fire. You remember that, right? This is before my time. I don't remember it, but I know of it.
No, I do not remember of which you speak.
Yeah, the Ohio River. The problem was that there was a maximum limit of toxins, and these are flammable toxins produced by industry in the area, that could be dumped into the river, the Ohio River of this particular town. I forget where it was, but and companies would each put a little bit of their waste into the river, and the EPA was fine with it. Well, if everyone on one of those corporations is doing that along the river, well, eventually that's a lot of toxins, and it's flammable, and the actual water caught on fire.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, they'll get away with what you let them get away with sometimes.
Right. This is true.
And so, and not thinking, I'm contributing to this larger thing. That's a problem, right? Maybe we should not do that.
Yeah, just a general, the goal of the corporation is to make a profit. So, whatever aids in that. That kind of thing.
At a certain scale, they lose their individual morality, like their responsibility. I guess.
It would have been interesting if one of the questions was, that corporations have a responsibility to be ethical in their practices or whatever.
I think that is one of the questions in here.
I guess I don't remember, but because some would say one might say either everybody should be ethical in their practices, and another might say, well, the corporation can do whatever it needs to make a profit, and it should be, and the people should be able to respond to that in kind or whatever. And so, but it's like, I would say it's like, I wouldn't expect any corporation to be ethical. It would be nice, but I wouldn't expect it of them, because I guess I think of it in terms of like the moral grandstanding that a lot of companies do, like, the classic one that, the internet likes to make fun of is the tendency is like, oh, Pride Month is here. Every corporation all of a sudden, we love we love Pride. We're all about the LGBTQ stuff.
I'm bigger than you are.
Yeah, it's like we're love that, and then the moment Pride Month ends, like, nope, back to normal. It's like nothing anymore. It's like, so it's that kind of clear pandering, I guess you could say. It's like,
except in the Middle East.
Except in the Middle East.
Yeah.
What?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they don't do that. No, they don't do that.
In the U.S., but yeah.
Well, they do it in Israel, but they're tolerant over there.
Yeah. Next question.
But yeah, at a certain point, there's no individual morality. Like, it's not my fault. I'm not responsible for the corporation being this way. And everyone says that.
But you work for the corporation,
The institutional momentum just kind of carries it towards whatever end it desires. Organizations. Okay, we already did that one. A government that provides for everyone is an inherently good idea. A government that provides for everyone is an inherently good idea.
That depends on what you mean by providing for everyone, because, like, provide what this where I believe it's like, what was the phrase, provide for the
common good.
Yeah, well, like, something from, I believe that was the Constitution. I don't remember the phrase at all.
General welfare.
Yeah, something like that. But that is like in that sort of idea, like, provide for everyone a foundation to, do whatever they need to do or whatever. In that respect, yeah. But it's like, it depends on what you mean by provide for everyone, I guess.
In retrospect, I think that was a very poor choice of words on their part. Yeah. Because that's a blanket term. You can turn that into whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want to be the general welfare, then,
You can turn that into doing whatever. So, then we get into the saying that a government that is powerful enough to provide you everything is powerful enough to take it all away. Take everything away. And so, do you want to empower a government to give you everything and hope that it never takes everything from you? I don't think so. I think it's a bad trade.
I am 100% for limited government, limited policing, military should be for the defense of the people. And so for me to even come close to saying that, what is the question again? Government must
provides for
everyone. That's just a recipe for authoritarianism and dictatorship, and unless the people manage the government, keep it reduced, then you eventually end up with totalitarianism, dictatorship. Somebody's going to end up on top.
Yeah.
So I can't say that. That to me, that would be strongly disagree, and didn't even think twice.
I agree on the disagreement. The current welfare system should be expanded to further combat inequality.
I think we kind of covered that one too. No.
Yeah.
Reduce it slowly, and allow the generous people in this world, of which there are many, to take care of what they will.
Right. Land should not be a commodity to be bought or sold. I think land should be a commodity to be bought and sold.
Land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. Yeah, that's a...
Disagree.
Yeah, disagree, because... And we've talked about taxes being theft. If you buy a piece of property, it should be yours. It is not the government's. It is not something they should be able to tax, because if you don't pay your tax, they will come to you and take your money. And if you won't give them their money, they will come with guns and they will throw you in jail. So who does own that property?
Well, and if you want to, and I think it's a plot point in Yellowstone, they want the property.
Mhm.
They want the
They want the
ranch.
land.
So, well, we can't take it from them. Let's just tax them to hell,
Right.
and then we can come take it because they can't pay the taxes.
Right. Make
So
the
that
taxes
you
so
have-
exorbitant that you can't afford to keep
And
the land.
It's a tale as old as time. Well, as old as taxes. You have to you inherit a property, right? The old family farm, right?
Mhm.
It's been in your family for 200 years. Okay, well, I don't make that much, but I at least own the family farm.
Mhm.
Well, now you owe taxes on that family farm, which are, way more than you can make.
Mhm.
And so you have to sell the farm in order to pay for the farm,
Mhm.
sell the farm to keep the farm. And so you end up piecemealing it out to
Mhm.
development, and after a while you have no family farm.
Yeah.
So your inheritance is limited by government.
Mhm. Well, and what is it feudalism, where the monarchy owns the land?
They
you just
just
get
rent
to
it.
work on it. You
Yeah.
just get to work on it, and for the benefit of being able to live and work on it, you have to pay the monarchy a huge chunk of your produce.
Mhm.
And we're in America. That is not the way we live.
Right.
You buy it, it's yours, and you protect it, you defend it, you take care of it. It belongs to the individual.
Mhm.
So anybody that tries to take that from the individual is a thief.
It's really funny how it was a holdover from monarchy that we kept.
Yeah.
Because the idea was the elect.
Mhm.
The monarch was ordained by God himself
Mhm.
to as one of the sons of Adam
Mhm.
to rule, because the firstborn, right, has the line of authority over his siblings or younger.
Mhm.
And supposedly all the monarchs were of the firstborn family.
Mhm.
All the commoners were not. So
Right.
that's why they were the monarchs.
And they got to assign who were the dukes and the earls
Yes.
and the aristocracy. They got to choose the aristocracy. And then way down there are the serfs, who they're glorified slaves.
And by dint of inheritance, they actually own the country
Mhm.
that they're monarch of,
Mhm.
and as their inheritance from Adam.
Oh, well, of course.
And so that's why you owe them your tithe.
Fealty and tithe, yeah.
Well, and that's how the church and state got together, because, Adam, the monarchy, and all that.
Mhm.
And your tithe was to the head of the church, which was also the monarch, unless you're Catholic. But and then you get into the interestingness of the Church of England and the Catholic. It's history, European history.
Tal, do you have any thoughts? He's shaking his head like this, for those of you who can't tell.
But in America, we have cast off the idea of a monarch. So why
Right.
are we paying taxes? As if the government owns our property before us.
Well, right, the government itself, the entity being called the government,
Mhm.
is the monarch.
They're not elect. They're not elected by God.
Right.
Well, okay. There's that verse. God allows them, but
Yeah.
they
They are not deity or
Right.
any form of deity. They are supposed to be protector and worker for the people. The power is supposed to be reversed. The power does not rest with the government. It's supposed to rest with the people, and the government serves the people. But we've got it so upside down that you can't even see it anymore.
They're not like God does not actively put them in power. They are allowed by God.
Mm-hmm.
And so you shouldn't have to pay taxes on something you own.
Yeah.
All right, disagree.
What's the next one?
All industry and the bank should be nationalized.
Oh my gosh. Tal, what do you think?
That's one of those things that I wouldn't really know the implications of. So it's like my gut instinct would say no, but I don't know what would be involved. So
Mark's got real excited when he heard that.
Why do we have Why do we have the quasi-gang of insurance agents? Or the, by that I mean, why do we have the situation we have with the insurance and medical costs that we do now? It was nationalized.
Mm-hmm.
And the costs went up, quality went down. Anybody that has had to deal with insurance over the past few years in this area due to tornadoes knows that you paid a lot of money over the years, and when it came time to pay out because a tornado blew your house away, you got bare minimum. It took them forever to get you the funds so that you could rebuild.
They fought you on every little detail.
They fight you on every detail. And then, joy of all joys, the house that I was living in was not affected. But every single owner in this area, their insurance went up because the insurance companies had to pay for all these other expenditures. So you were punished for an act of nature that we have no control over, but you're punished because someone else had something go wrong. And, the same thing happens with car insurance. So it's just, if you nationalize it, you're going to have very likely those who are not professionals in that field making decisions for that field, and it permits that field to up the charges. And we'll just use insurance. Sorry, all you people with insurance agent jobs. If you go into a hospital or doctor's office, let's just say doctor's. If I go into a doctor's office, they're going to ask me right off the bat, do you have insurance? And if you say yes, there's a fee structure, and it's ungodly.
Mm-hmm.
If you say no, I do not have insurance, then bless their hearts, these doctor's offices will charge you far less for the services and more accurate charging for the services that they render. And it's fairly minimal compared to this beast up here. Why?
Because they know they're going to get paid either way.
See, the joke that I saw going around the internet for a little while some years ago was, it's like, okay, the doctor's fixed your, broken arm or whatever. It's like, okay, how about payments? Like, you don't have insurance? Well, we'll break it, kick you out, that sort of thing. But that was the joke I saw going around for a little while. But it's like, oh, you don't have insurance? Be gone with you.
Yeah.
We don't care. But anyway,
Yeah.
That was a while back.
So if you do nationalize something, it never goes well. And that thing it never improves. It always gets more costly with less quality.
The most relatable argument I've heard, or analogy for this I've heard, is, do you want your healthcare run by the same people who invented the DMV?
Right. Preach it. Yes. And no. The answer is no to that question.
How is
No,
that
I do not want those people.
How is that going in Canada?
Okay.
Maybe.
But to give credit where credit's due, I did have to go into the Benton County DMV for a driver's license. Those things.
The driver's license? The real ID?
The real ID, thank you, quote, real ID. So you had to go in person. It was the first time I have ever walked into a DMV and immediately gone to the counter.
Mm.
They did something that just lined all that stuff. Maybe I just went at a really good time, but there was no line. And there was just, probably 7 people maybe helping. And it was, I walked in, did my thing, and walked out. And I was like, okay, who killed all the real people? And am I living in some sort of a nightmare? So it was a very strange experience. But so maybe they're working on that efficiency thing, which is good.
Cool.
Maybe it's another one of those kind of, ideal versus practical application sort of things where, like, maybe in an ideal world this could work, but in reality it won't.
Yes.
Again, I don't really know what the implications would be in an ideal situation even, so.
I don't believe there's any ideal situation where the government takes over. Never, ever, ever. Okay. How do I really feel about it?
Like, are you challenging me to come up with an instance where, yeah, I think probably could. Where government taking over something could be better.
What?
And I'm playing devil's advocate here, okay?
Okay, well, I'll probably
Never mind.
beat you as a devil advocate to death. So, no, not really.
I don't know. Could come up with some situation, but
Okay.
it would take a little while. Class is the primary division of society. I put disagree.
Disagree.
Because
it shouldn't be. They should be shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well,
That's one of those, it's like, well, maybe it is, even if I don't like it. So it's like, I don't know. Depends on how they were
I don't think
trying
so.
to frame it.
Because I have far more in common with an American who believes the same as I do, a Christian American who believes in freedom and all that, than I do. But he's rich. He's like uber wealthy. I have far more in common with him than I have in common with someone who's in my same economic status in India.
Yes.
Or in Bangladesh.
Right.
We believe very different things. We think very different things on all these questions: society, morals, religion, everything. So
is it thinking more like local to the U.S. though, like in terms of limited
in some
to
cultures, it is.
Well, I mean, like,
primary.
I just mean like, if it's trying to limit it to the U.S. Like, okay, well, in the U.S., do you have more in common with somebody of your economic class versus other stuff or whatever? But
okay, well,
just because you were referencing like people in other countries. And
well, the
stuff.
same thing could be applied to the U.S. even. I have far more in common with someone here locally who believes the same as I do, but he's far more wealthy than I am, than someone who believes very differently, a socialist in Portland, who's in my same economic status, but believes differently on most things.
Right, that would not be a dividing line.
I'd rather hang out with the uber wealthy guy who believes the same as I do than I would.
So basically, to say that at this point in time, it'd probably be your political views are probably the most the biggest divider. But
Yep.
and that's that's only becoming more true as time goes on.
Yeah, and I mean, is that a class? I mean, I always
I
saw.
presume it meant economic class.
Yeah, I always
Yes.
saw class at or
social status maybe.
it wasn't, and I don't know if it's still this way, but not too many years in the past in India, if you're born into a particular class, you cannot switch classes. And that was, I don't know that
More
it
like-
was economic. I think it was social.
It was caste system.
A caste system,
Yeah,
thank you,
that's
that's the
what
term.
I'm thinking, yeah.
The caste system. And those castes did different tasks as a whole, but so it did divide their society. Here, maybe once upon a time there was more of that. Well, I know I grew up in a town that was very, very class-based. If you were wealthy in the town I grew up in, you were in one class. And you didn't go from lower class to upper class. And I distinctly remember looking at my sister and going, you busted that class system. Because she did go from lower middle class. We grew up lower middle class. She I would say purposely, changed the way society perceived her and her husband's family. And now they're one of the ones with the most influence in that area. And so, yes, when I was 15, it was very, very segregated, not by race, because you didn't have any other race in the area I grew up in, but it was very, very segregated by your wealth and status. And you weren't permitted to cross those lines. So good on my sister. She just blew the fire out of that glass ceiling. So now I don't think it's that way as much. Just because we've been beat to death when it comes to racism or, differing opinions, and we've just been battered. Yeah. If you don't agree with the media's, box that they've put people in, then they call you bad names. And so it's just like so overbearing now that it's more like Tal said, it has more to do with your political or your religious leanings than it does your color of skin or a caste system.
Well, that's one thing that the early socialists had trouble importing to America was it worked in other countries largely well. The economic envy that worked in the Soviet Union, what became the Soviet Union, worked in White Russia. It worked in other Eastern European countries. Get the lower class be envious of the upper class. Right. Well, that didn't work. Didn't translate over here because it was so fluid. If you worked hard and were in a certain place in your life where you could make it work, you could become wealthy.
Right.
And so people weren't envious of the upper class. They weren't hostile to them.
That was the big draw. You could come to America and you progressed or you succeeded based on your what they call that, a meritorious system. Meritocracy. Yeah, your value was based on your skill.
I've heard Europeans call Americans. We walk around like temporarily not inconvenienced, temporarily ashamed millionaires, temporarily inconvenienced millionaires. We all could be that guy.
Yeah.
If things go right for us.
Right.
But so what they modified their tactic to race and gender and all the other not multiculturalism, the intersectionality.
Yeah.
Divide everyone by everything. Race, class, if you can get away with it, gender, all that. And that's taken off pretty well for them.
Yeah. Sadly.
Anyway, economic inequality is too high in the world.
Well, see, that's one of those questions. I know where I am suspicious of the intent of that question because while it may be true, if you use that as justification for not what is the difference between equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome. Now, if you use that statement to support why you should have equality of outcome, then bad you. But it is true. I mean, America is incredibly wealthy in comparison to another country.
Yeah.
And you can't get around the truth of it, but you also can't make an excuse for something stupid.
Right. Yeah. Well, and a rising tide raises all ships. Yes, economic inequality is higher, but everyone's richer these days than they were before.
Right.
People who are the poorest are living better lives than kings used to back in the medieval times. They have air conditioning. They have cars. They have our poor people. Our homeless people are overweight.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not starving. They're doing okay.
Right.
So microwaves. Oh my goodness. Kings couldn't dream of microwaves back. Your food is warm in 30 seconds.
Or freezer.
Yeah.
Or freezer.
Don't have to salt your meat and store it in just as cold an environment as you can get, and maybe it'll keep for a week or two or however long. I don't know.
Yeah, dentistry has come a long way. You don't have to bash. My teeth don't have to be bashed out with rocks. Okay, when they get rotten.
I could try that if you like.
No, thank you. And my teeth last longer than my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
Infectious diseases and all manner of stuff. Yeah.
So I think yes, inequality is not necessarily a bad thing in and of itself.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of links what was in my head. The places that have a lower threshold, the difference in a dollar, if it's, $1 is worth this much in America and it's worth a different amount in Africa. Okay, but at the level of income they have what they need. It's like their level of want is trained to be less by their circumstances, where we have been trained toward excess. And so, that inequality, I don't know.
True. Maybe there's a guy down there who's like, air conditioning, what would I do with air conditioning?
Yeah.
I don't want it,
Right, they wouldn't want that thing.
Well, and, not entirely, they're, I guess, I think of, what would I do with air conditioning? It's like, well, Great Britain or wherever where you might have to turn on your AC, once a year or something.
Oh, yeah.
True.
It's like, oh man, it's 70 degrees outside. It's sweltering,
Some places in Colorado, they don't even put air conditioning systems in their house.
Yeah.
They put heater,
But
heating,
I know that's not what you
air.
were talking about.
Cool.
That's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
Well, and then they get those 70-degree heat waves over there in England, and people end up dying. I'm like, how?
Yeah, we over here, everything is like...
Come to Arkansas.
It takes talent to die at 70 degrees from heat stroke.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're only on, this is going to be like a multi-session, I think. We're only on 16 of 46.
We'll try and get through it a couple.
I'm enjoying it, so. Can I raid your refrigerator, though?
Yeah.
Do you need to wrap up?
I am out of drinks, so talk loudly, and I'll talk loudly from the refrigerator.
Do we need to wrap up?
What is it, almost 4?
Yeah, it is.
No, we got a while.
Okay.
Go.
Sometimes it is right that the government may spy on its citizens to combat extremists and terrorists. Well, we saw how that worked out with the Patriot Act.
Didn't work at all.
No. And then Edward Snowden blew the lid off of that. And
Remind me what the Edward Snowden thing was. I forgot.
he was a CIA analyst or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And he basically, back in the late 2000s, like 08 or something, leaked a bunch of documents on WikiLeaks that told us exactly what the government was doing with the Patriot Act. All the spying they're doing, that they're listening on phone calls, they're watching texts, they're doing all these things that we didn't know that they were doing.
Uh-huh.
We might have suspected, but if you did suspect and said something, you were like Alex Jones, a little crazy. Surely they would never do that. Well, turns out they were doing it.
Yep. I can't believe I used to be, before I met you and Brian, dadgum you, I was one of those people that just trusted the government. Well, if they're not telling us something, they've got a really good reason not to.
But now
sometimes maybe, but
but now you're woke.
No, well, I was woken up, but
you took the red pill.
I took the libertarian, borderline, anarchist pill, whichever color that one is.
So you're woke. No.
Ruined is what it means. I used to be happy, Adrian.
Ignorance is bliss.
Now everywhere, every single thing I hear on TV or someone tells me, I follow the money. Okay, who benefits? What rights are they stripping from you in order to do that thing? Yeah, so I'm no fun anymore.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think we all disagree with that.
Totally disagree.
So.
And wait, hold on. I'm not going to remember who said it or told the story, but shoot, it's gone. I must need more liquid. My brain is just, what were we talking about?
Government spying.
Sometimes it's right for the government to spy on the citizens to combat extremists and terrorists.
Yeah, it's gone. Must not needed to say it.
Well, then you also
blame it on
get
ageism.
into who is categorized as extremists and terrorists. Under the previous administration, people like us were extremists and terrorists, and he even mentioned that in his fiery red speech at Independence Hall.
I think it was so scary.
Yeah, that was optically terrifying. Calling us enemies of the state.
Yeah, just simply because we didn't agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was borderline that scene from Lion King where Scar is sitting up on the be prepared, and the hyenas are like goose stepping down below. And fire
I haven't
comes up.
seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
Which they, unsurprisingly took out of the remake.
What? Oh yeah, they did. That's,
Yeah.
Um,
They didn't want that particular bit of imagery in the new version.
Okay, understandable. Yes.
Originally, the song didn't even exist, but they kind of hurriedly put one in at the very end.
Huh.
But,
Yeah.
Which apparently a lot of people didn't, appreciate. A lot of people, I guess, really liked that song and wanted to see it in there, and they just had to throw it in as an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's getting a bit far afield.
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm gonna have to go watch it because I haven't watched that since they were little. You were little.
Because we weren't allowed to watch The Lion King. Or Disney.
Right during that was the movie. You saw that movie, but when I saw that movie, I was one of those, homeschool moms that said, and we would not buy anything Disney or watch anything Disney after that.
For many, many years.
Yes, many years.
Yeah.
Now they don't make anything good enough for me to watch. So
Really.
Yeah, it's like you're not worth my attention.
they're not even worth my attention now.
But yeah, when you control the definition of extremist and terrorist, then you can label whatever and then justify your spying and
Right.
whatever. Disappearing people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's not. Then you get into what the left's saying now, that they're disappearing people because of immigration and stuff, and they're engaging in these tactics. In a roundabout way, maybe we can get them on board with dismantling the Patriot Act.
Maybe.
Government power.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you don't want them to have this power? Take it
away
away.
the Patriot Act. Yeah, that was the trend. And I remember that was before I met you guys or started actually paying attention to what you were talking about. But because I remember when they were instilling the Patriot Act, it was before I met you because we were still in Berryville at that time.
I was 6, so yeah.
And I remember thinking, whatever it takes, like the whole torture, everything, whatever it takes to win that war, just do it. You're going to save lives overall, in the end, sort of like the atom bomb,
Terrorists, America, democracy.
So yeah, I remember being one of those mindless zombies that actually believed what the TV told you.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of came out of the post 9/11 national unity.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a good thing that we had national unity at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed, I think, intentionally towards, support the government no matter what.
Right.
Um,
Well, I followed blindly. I don't anymore. So.
Yeah. Authority figures, if morally correct, are a good thing for society.
Agree.
Authority figures.
Yeah.
No, morally correct. That's an important part
Mm-hmm.
there. If they're morally correct, authority figures are a good thing for society.
I guess it depends on what your morals are.
Yeah.
Because you could have very poor results from a certain set of morals.
Anyway.
What? Go ahead, throw it out.
No, you were going in a different direction than I thought you were.
Oh, well, go in the direction you want to go, because
No, as in my comment was predicated on the idea that you were going in a certain direction,
oh,
and you didn't. So
okay.
I don't have that comment.
Well, did I go in a good direction or a bad direction? Yeah, plead the fifth.
Yeah, authority figures versus leaders. I don't know if there's a distinction really, because authority figures sounds, versus leaders. It's like, okay, every society needs leaders to guide them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they take. I've stomped up and down on this particular rant. So each of us are given individual authority by God. We choose who to share that authority with. If I go to work for someone, they are my boss. I hand over a portion of my authority to that person to use, but it's my choice. It's a free will choice, okay? And that person is morally correct from my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a good thing. It's everybody. It's an equal transaction. But switch to a church environment. Most people think that because a person is the pastor of a church, they're the authority. And they have authority over you in many areas of your life. That is the assumption. Okay, well, I choose to differ with that because I, as an individual, enter that establishment with my individual authority. And if I trust that person, I can hand a piece of authority over to them. They don't control my entire life. They control my involvement in that church. And they have I'm assuming they have the ability to lead in a good direction. If they lead in a poor direction, a bad direction, it is my sole, authority to take that back. That piece that I gave them, I'm like, no, pull it back, put it back in here, and, off I go. So, authority figures, if it is a mutual transaction of authority, and they are morally correct, that's great. That's what you hope for. And that's what I personally look for people like that because I want to learn from them. But if you have the ones that assume they have authority over you because of their position, not because of a transaction between you, but because they are who they are, and I have the authority to command you or to bully you into a certain path, that's not a good thing for society. Mm-hmm. So you have to, an intelligent person should analyze those that you have put in leadership over you, given them a piece of your authority, and be really careful they're not abusing that.
Right. All right. Strength is necessary for any government to succeed. I think yes.
Mm-hmm. I strongly agreed with that. Strength?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you define strength too, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that saying, was it Reagan, peace through strength?
Yes.
Yeah. So
he was able to, well, the principle was, you are prepared enough for any eventuality. We're just going to hope you don't provide the eventuality. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. There wouldn't be a United States if there weren't for strength. Mm-hmm. We would have had little piranhas eating us all over the place, and they would have won. The goal of any country, especially one in the position of the United States, is to be so strong and so capable of violence, overwhelming violence. Like, if you cross us bad enough, you will cease to be a country.
Yeah, we will defend ourselves.
Yeah. And we will take your oil, if there is any.
Well, the spoils of war, And it's not if it's a war you didn't choose, if you're defending yourself, and Israel's a good example. If you're defending yourself and that attacker loses, you take what the attacker had.
Mm-hmm.
That has been the nature of war since it began.
Yeah. Well, and the 6 Day War, where Israel did that,
Mm-hmm.
they followed that war plan.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they did some in the War of Independence. Well, they took the West Bank and Judea,
Mm-hmm.
and Gaza, but especially in the 6 Day War, they took the Sinai. They
Mm-hmm.
took a little bit of the Golan from
Mm-hmm.
Syria. That was historically very unusual for Israel to do.
Mm-hmm.
They have not taken Jordan. They have not taken Syria to a large extent. They gave back the Sinai to Egypt.
Yeah.
Whereas the U.S. historically has waged war in that context.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been since World War II that we've not done that,
Right.
or World War I, guess. Prior to 1900, we were imperializing.
Mm-hmm.
We were
Speeches.
taking Philippines, Spain. We beat you. We're taking that.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii, oh, heck yeah, we want some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rico, thanks Spain. We were expanding,
Mm-hmm.
and we just come off of doing that in the Plains Wars with the Indians. We took the American West. From both sides, we got California, and all that from Mexico, and we had the Louisiana Purchase, and we just worked our way from both sides
Mm-hmm.
to the middle of the country. So we've waged war like that way more than Israel has.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't mean to say that about Israel. They're just... they've been attacked unwarranted so many times and had to defend themselves. So I guess what I said didn't really. I repent in sackcloth and ashes.
Sackcloth and ashes.
Bible joke, sorry. I don't know. I'm getting tired. I think we might need to quit.
Okay.
I keep losing my train of thought, and we can blame it on age, or we can blame it on how many.
But Israel is strong in its defense.
Yes.
No doubt. I don't think many nations are worried about them toppling their government. Well, okay, Mossad does a great deal behind the scenes.
Yes.
So they could do a lot of assassinations, and they have.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to do in Iraq and Afghanistan on someone.
No.
We will.
Mm-hmm.
Venezuela is next on the chopping block. They're looking pretty appetizing right now for us.
Is that the country that had? No, which country is it that had the president that really just turned it around?
Argentina.
Argentina. Okay,
Yeah.
It was Argentina, not Venezuela. Okay.
Yeah. Venezuela made us mad here recently by sending some narco boats full of drugs.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That must have been recently, right?
that's why we're licking our chops
Yeah.
at Venezuela. And they have oil.
Okay.
We want oil. But yeah, the strength that we possess in the United States is necessary, because if you cross us, once again, you will cease to be a country.
Right.
And it's necessary to have that fear of a moral country like the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that,
Mm-hmm.
because you want morality throughout the world, and if we control the sea lanes, and we have been pretty successfully, allowing for international trade to go on as it should,
Mm-hmm.
without much of our intervention, right? Then the world is a better place.
Right. And we went through a spell, obviously worse during the Biden administration, but where part of the prevailing thought on America was everybody hates us.
Mm-hmm. Obama era.
Yeah, Obama, Biden.
The apology tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the apology tour. And so instead of exemplifying strength in both leadership and, having your ducks in line in case something goes wrong, it was like, what were you were talking about piranhas earlier? They smell blood. They smell weakness is what it was, not blood. It is weakness. And everything starts to swirl and things try to attack from an indifferent, economically, militarily, just in all aspects. And we were slowly becoming weaker and lessening the defense budget, things like that. So that did not promote peace. That promoted war. Where when we were perceived as, okay, we are the strongest, don't mess with us, that was peace. So
now, that being said, a lot of people on the libertarian side and the conservative side have long said, don't use it all that much, right?
Use it as little as
have the capability,
possible.
Because we don't want to get bogged down in another Afghanistan. Or
right.
Those are bad times. We don't want that. We lost a lot of good people, and needlessly, really. And we ended up giving them all of our stuff. They're better off than they were before we invaded. So, but have the capability, make them afraid, and every once in a while, when someone crosses you, just blow them out of the water and demonstrate that you still can do that. That's my thought on it.
Use it as don't be the world's policing system. We can even do our own policing properly. So why should we be policing other people's disagreements or wars?
Protect the shipping lanes,
Yeah.
Don't let the Houthis.
It should
be bombing
directly
boats.
affect the stability of the United States, or we shouldn't be in it.
Rule number 1 of the U.S.: don't mess with our boats. Every war we fought nearly. Someone touched our boats. Okay.
Don't blow up the boat.
Yeah. All right. Want to call it now or?
Yeah, just make a note of we're on
Right.
18 of 46.
Yeah.
So.
I'll leave this tab open because I think it might randomize the questions. So.
Oh, okay.
When I saw it, you could pick a shuffled or non-shuffled
Or
option.
unshuffled.
I think you went to a different site than we did.
It looked like.
Oh no,
that.
ours had a shuffle versus unshuffled.
Okay.
Shuffled right when you first started.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll leave this tab open anyway. So.
Yeah.
And just in case you're curious and wanting to do it yourself, it's what?
Politicalcompass.net.
There you go. Politicalcompass.net.
Or org. I think it was .net.
Politicalcompass.net.
Yeah.
I typed in net, so.
Yeah, it's like there were the first one that showed up on Google was politicalcompass.org.
Yeah. I think that's the one that had me as like a leftist authoritarian. It didn't work.
That would so totally not be a description of you.
Unless I've changed somehow.
No, I don't think you have. Okay.
Well, we'll see you next time for part 2 of Political Compass discussions on our cast iron IronCast.
Help me, Jesus. Okay.